In my PowerPoint, I will look at the different research methods under the bracket of production research, audience research, and market research. Firstly, these different research methods will come under either primary research, which is investigating and searching for your own answers through surveys or focus groups. Secondary research, looking at past data via the internet, which could be through the format of graphs and tallies. Production research, exploring or investigating in a particular product, looking into a product or service and gathering data from it or for its business use. The purpose is to see if it works. In my documentary, we used different locations, i.e. we had to go to the different locations and do location recce's. So in my music video, I done location recce's to see if the area would work, if the noise was okay, if there wasn't too many people around. Content. What is seen or spoken about in the advert or shown, i.e. the mise-en-scène and props. Methodology. The methodology would be primary research because you yourself would want to go out and find out information about what you want to put into the video. This suits better to you as a person. There would also be quantity because you want to know detailed things. You don't want to have a lot of ideas and not quality of the ideas. Purpose. The purpose of this is to make sure the overall advert is good. For example, in our music videos, we had to do a mise-en-scène PowerPoint. I've done this on Beyonce, and her video was Run the World. And I had to look at the different props that were used in it and the mise-en-scène, so the camera angles, different techniques. Viability. Viability relating is to your product. Compatibility. This is important to see if your product will be successful. The methodology. The methodology would be secondary research because you would want to look online at public research and see graphs and tallies of why the product didn't work perhaps. If we're looking at the chocolate bar that we're trying to advertise, we'd want to see at different ways why it didn't work. This would mainly be through, you would want quantitative data, you would want specific answers, people telling you why they didn't like the product. Was it the packaging? Was it the actual chocolate bar? Was it the advert? Was it not interesting? Purpose. In our magazine show, Trapstar, before doing the magazine show, we had to make sure it would be successful, making sure it related to our particular audience and their interests. Placement media. The use of different types of media to promote and establish your product, i.e. through advert, through an online TV show. Methodology. This could be either primary or secondary research, as you could look at past adverts and see what the views were like on it. So that would be secondary research, looking at online data from the past. Or if you do primary research and find out directly from viewers what programs they would watch. Would they watch adverts through an advertisement or would they watch it on an online program? Purpose. This is important to make sure you get the right placement for where you want to put your advert. This was also seen in our magazine show, Trapstar, where we had little video clips of our music videos as they was advertising them. Costs. This is meant by how much things will cost and how would you invest in the things you're going to buy. Methodology. This would be secondary as you would look online at different costs of the different things you'd want to put into your video, i.e. the different products. This will also, again, be quantitative data because you want to get a lot of different answers. Purpose. In my documentary, we had to do a chart of costs. We got given a budget and we had to keep in with that budget. So we had to look at online stuff and see which was best price for our budget. Finance. This is all about the cost of stuff and how much the stuff will cost. Financing the money that you're going to be using when buying your products. Morphology. This would be secondary because you'd want to look at online sources as different types of things you'd want to buy for your advert. I.e., if you're looking to buy camera equipment, you want to look online to see what the cheapest one is to finance your money the right way. This will also be quantitative data because you'd want to look at lots of different websites and just get the money. You don't want qualitative answers. In my documentary, when I had to look at the cost, I had to go online and look at different websites and see what ways would be cheaper for me to buy the product so I could help finance my money. Technological resources. What technology you could use in your advert, i.e. Final Cut. Morphology. This would be secondary research through the understanding of how the product is and the program you'll be using, i.e. if you're looking at the Final Cut, you'd want to online source it and see what was good about it. You might also want to do qualitative data through primary research and find out from people if they thought Final Cut is a good program or not to use and if it would be suitable for your advert. Purpose. During my music video, I had to look at paying to use Final Cut and what software was best for my music video, and as it came to it, Final Cut was the best idea. Personnel. Definition. The people that you are employing, i.e. the organisation, the crew people, camera crew, editors, filmers, and also your actors and actresses. Morphology. This will be primary research as you would go out specifically yourself and look at who would fit into the description, i.e. if you want a young girl, what does she look like? You would go out yourself and look at this. It would also be quantitative because you'd want to go out and speak to a lot of different people to see who you'd want. Also, if you're doing secondary research in finding your crew members, you might want a lot of different background sources from them to see how they work. So that would also be quantitative data. In my music video, I had to look at who would be the best part for my singer, which was Amarachi, and I had to look at the looks and the voice. Locations. Definition. This is meant by the real places in where you would go out and film, i.e. is it a studio setup or is it outdoor locations where you would like to film your advert. Morphology. This would be primary research as you personally would go out and look at the different locations and see if it would make sense and if it would fit your advert, i.e. is it too noisy, is there too many people around, does it not suit the tone of your advert, light and dark. In the process of making my music video, we had to do location recce's. We had to do this and look at if the noise levels were okay and to see if there wasn't children around. As you know, Ofcom have this legislation where young children are not allowed to be in music videos without information or consent, so we had to make sure there was no children around, which is why we had to do location recce's. Audience data is meant by how many people watch a certain program or a channel. This would be secondary research as I'll find the information via the internet, as a lot of the data is already shown through statistics. This will then again be quantitative data as these forms are through numbers which show simple, straightforward answers, which isn't qualitative, it will be quantitative. Audience profiling. This is when you come up with your perfect audience through their age, gender, interest, ethnicity, race. This is where you go out and find out who would like your documentary. This will be primary research, as you yourself would go out. This will be through questionnaires, interviews and focus groups. This is for you to get people who you find out who likes your product. For example, I had to use this when making my advert, as I had to see who liked the flake, who did it appeal to more, which was a female target audience. Audience research. This is meant by the research where you go out and ask the public, people, of their opinion. This helps you get more data and information about your topic. So, the purpose is for you to go out and get more information on the topic. For example, in my documentary about the Olympics, whether dance should be in it or not, I went out to the public and asked questions whether they like dance or not, whether they believe dance should be in the Olympics or not. And this helped me get more understanding about my topic and the interest of the topic from a wider range of audience through the public eye. Demographics and geographics. This is meant by the public, how you categorize them through their age, gender, ethnicity, interest. It also is meant by where they live and what traits they have from where they live. The methodology I would use for this is primary, as I would have to go out and see which type of people would be interested in my product. My research will be quantitative data, as I'll do surveys to get more people's opinions, which will make it quantitative data, so it'll be a lot more than just very detailed answers. Consumer behavior is a study of a group or individual, and this is through what they select, sport or display. This will be primary research, as I myself have to go out and find out the different types of group and people that are interested in the product. This would also be quantitative, as I prefer to get a lot of information rather than detailed information. Consumer attitudes is the target audience attitudes towards a product or a service. This helps you get their opinions and helps you decide how you can make your product better than other products, because they then talk about what products they like and what they prefer. For example, when I make my chocolate advert and they say they prefer one chocolate, I will try and see what that chocolate conveys in their adverts to make my advert better than theirs and more appealing. Audience awareness. This is meant by how much the audience are involved in your product or in your research and video. The research method I would use for this would be secondary, as a lot of the information I've got would already have been seen. For example, if I'm doing a chocolate advert, I would already see who likes the product from past experiences of the chocolate being sold. It would also be quantitative data, because I'll be getting it from the internet, which will show number information. For example, percentages of who likes it, percentage of the females or male population, and so forth. Market research. This is the gathering of information prior to filming or making a production, i.e. whether it's a music video or a documentary, so on. This allows accurate information and provides relevant data, which can be from the audience. Purpose. This is to make sure whatever you are making, whether it's an advert, any kind of production, that it goes out to the audience and engages to them. This was done in our documentaries when we had to come up with 3 different ideas prior to making our documentaries and talk about them. This helped us making our decision to which one would be the best and would relevant to the audience. This is when we had to also do research into our different topics. Competition. The competition within the market means that others are putting pressure to keep the prices down. If 2 or more companies, manufacturers or sell similar products, both are motivated to keep the prices down because they are in competition with everybody else. Methodology. This would be primary research, as you would want to go out to different places, i.e. if you're doing an advert, you'd want to go out and look to see if any other company are selling a product that's like yours and see what your competition is. It could also be secondary research, because you'd want to see who's buying that product, so how you get them in to come in to buy your product instead of that product. It could also be quantitative data, because you want to know a very strong opinion or data. You don't want quick answers. Purpose. This is important to make sure your product sells. When product market. Who are the market you are targeting your product at? i.e. if it was E4, is there specific interest? Music lovers for an E4 program. Who you want to aim your product at? If it was an advert production, who would it be aimed at? Through interest, age, gender? Methodology. When looking into your chocolate bar, this will be primary research, as you would want to go out and see who was keen in that product last time. So if you're trying to reinvent a chocolate bar, you want to specifically go out and do surveys and see what gender like the chocolate bar most. Was it boys or girls? What age range like to bear like Turkish Delight is mainly loved by the older generation. So in this way, you'd want qualitative and quantitative, because you want a lot of answers, but you'd also want quantitative data, why they didn't like it. Was it the packaging? Was it the taste of it? Purpose. Before doing a music video, we had to pitch our music videos to make sure it filtered to the target audience. Competitor analysis. This is very similar to competition. It is the practice of analysing the competition environment in which your business operates for wishes. This could be the strategy to improve your position or your product from the other companies that you're in competition in. This would mainly be primary research, as you would yourself would go and look at the competition and see what they have that you don't have, and how you can better your product and see the prices. This sort of stuff you wouldn't generally be able to see online. You'd want to go in to say if it's a market, you would want to go to the market and see where your competition is. Purpose. This is important to get your product to sell and make sure your product is different to everybody else's. Advertising placement. This is when you have to think about where you place your advert, i.e. what channel, what time, making sure that it doesn't compete with other channels or shows that will be on at the same time. Methodology. This will be secondary research, as you might want to look online and see the different time slots of the different shows, i.e. you might want to look at what channel gets viewed the most. Is it BBC One? Is it BBC Two? Where would your advert most benefit from being on? You'd also want to look at qualitative data, finding graphs and researching, seeing who the public watch more, i.e. is it the younger lot that watch channels like E4, and is it the older lot that watch channels like BBC One? Purpose. This is important when putting your advert, because you want to make sure it gains enough views. We had to make sure when we were doing our documentaries, we looked at what these other, our competition, what channels they were on, and where we would want to target our documentary. So if I was to release my documentary, I would want to look at what channel I would want to put it on, making sure it wasn't in competition with the other ones, because it won't get enough views. Advertising effects. The effects of advertising it, where you'd advertise it. Advertising is paid, non-personal communication that is designed to communicate in a creative manner through the use of online directed media, where you would place your advert to get views. This will mainly be primary research, as you'd want to look into where you'd want to aim your advert and where you'd want to put it to get the best effects. And this is mainly to persuade if product so it doesn't get declined by other products.